Emma Carter stood at the front of her classroom, her chalk-dusted fingers tracing the lines of a Shakespeare sonnet on the blackboard. The morning sun filtered through the windows of Coastal High, casting a warm glow over the rows of desks where her students scribbled notes or whispered excitedly about the upcoming spring dance. At 35, Emma had found her calling as an English teacher in this small coastal town of Havenport. Her classroom was a sanctuary, a place where words wove magic, and she took pride in inspiring her students to find their own voices. "All right, everyone," Emma said, turning to face the class with a smile. "Your essays on The Great Gatsby are due next Monday. I want to see your own interpretations, not just what you found online. Let's dig into what Fitzgerald's words mean to you." The bell rang and the room erupted into a flurry of backpacks and chatter. As the students filed out, Emma caught the eye of Alex and Gwen, a bright senior who often lingered to discuss literature. "Miss Carter, can I ask you about my thesis later?" Alex asked, his dark eyes earnest. "Of course, Alex. Stop by after school," Emma replied, her heart warmed by his enthusiasm. That afternoon, the faculty meeting in the school's library felt unusually tense. Principal Thompson, a stern man in his 50s, stood at the head of the table, his glasses perched low on his nose. Emma sat near the back, flipping through her planner, when Thompson's voice cut through the room like a blade. "We have a serious matter to address," he began, his tone heavy. "An accusation of plagiarism has been brought against one of our teachers. Specifically, Ms. Emma Carter." The air seemed to vanish from the room. Emma's heart pounded as all eyes turned to her. "What?" she managed, her voice barely above a whisper. "That's impossible." Mark Johnson, the new English teacher who had joined the school 6 months ago, cleared his throat. His sharp features and slicked-back hair gave him an air of calculated confidence. "I'm afraid it's true, Emma," he said, his voice dripping with false sympathy. "I found several of your lesson plans on a website called TeachSmart. They're word-for-word matches." Emma's mind reeled. "I've never heard of TeachSmart. This is a mistake." Thompson raised a hand. "We take such accusations seriously. Until we investigate, Miss Carter, you're on administrative leave, effective immediately. Please gather your things and leave the premises." The room spun. Emma's colleagues avoided her gaze, except for Mark, who offered a tight smile that didn't reach his eyes. As she stumbled out of the library, her bag slung over her shoulder, Emma felt the weight of betrayal settle in her chest. She had always been well-liked, her classroom a hub of creativity. Why would anyone do this to her? At home, Emma sat at her kitchen table, her laptop open to the TeachSmart website Mark had emailed her about. The lesson plans were indeed hers, down to the specific examples she used for teaching To Kill a Mockingbird. But she had never submitted them to any website. Someone had stolen her work or manipulated the evidence to frame her. Her phone buzzed with a call from her best friend, Lisa, a teacher at a neighboring school. "Emma, what's going on? I heard you were suspended." Emma recounted the meeting, her voice shaking. "Mark did this, Lisa. I don't know how, but he's behind it. He's always been jealous of how the students respond to me." "That's low," Lisa said, her voice fierce. "You need to fight this. Do you have proof those lesson plans are yours?" "I have backups on my old hard drive," Emma said, a spark of hope igniting. "I can show I wrote them years ago." "Good. And you should look into Mark. If he's done this before, there might be a pattern." Emma nodded, though Lisa couldn't see her. "I will. I'm not letting him ruin my life." The next few days were a blur of frustration and determination. Emma scoured her old hard drives, finding lesson plans dating back to her first year at Coastal High, 8 years ago. The timestamps predated TeachSmart's existence, proving her work was original. She contacted the website, demanding to know who had uploaded the plans, but they cited privacy policies and refused to help. Emma's partner, David, a graphic designer with a gentle demeanor, tried to comfort her. "Maybe you should let it go, Em," he said one evening, his blue eyes filled with concern. "This stress isn't worth it. You can find another job." Emma shook her head, her jaw set. "If I don't clear my name, this will follow me everywhere. I can't let Mark win." David sighed, running a hand through his sandy hair. "Just be careful. Don't do anything you'll regret." Emma's next step was to investigate Mark. She searched online, finding his LinkedIn profile, which listed 2 previous teaching positions in Ohio and Virginia. She couldn't contact those schools directly without raising suspicion, but she remembered her cousin Jenny, who worked in education administration. "Jenny, I need a favor," Emma said over the phone, explaining the situation. "Can you find out anything about Mark Johnson's past?" Jenny promised to dig discreetly. 3 days later, she called back with a bombshell. Emma. There was a rumor at his last school in Virginia about an inappropriate relationship with the student. It was hushed up, and he left soon after. Emma's stomach churned. What kind of relationship? A senior girl, Emily Harris. They were seen together outside school hours. The parents were donors, so the school swept it under the rug. This was bigger than Emma had expected. If Mark had a history of unethical behavior, it could explain his willingness to frame her, perhaps to deflect attention from his own past. But using this information would be tricky. She didn't want to hurt anyone, especially not a former student. Meanwhile, Emma's absence from school didn't go unnoticed. Alex and Gwen, her star student, approached her at a local coffee shop. "Miss Carter, I heard what happened. It's not fair. You'd never plagiarize." Emma smiled weakly. "Thanks, Alex. I'm trying to fix it." "Can I help?" he asked, his voice eager. "I'm good with computers. Maybe I can find something online." Emma hesitated, not wanting to involve a student, but Alex's determination was infectious. "All right, but nothing risky. Just see if you can find any public information about Mark." Alex proved to be a valuable ally. Using his tech skills, he scoured social media and online forums, finding a blog post from a former student at Mark's Virginia school. The post hinted at issues with Mr. Johnson, with comments suggesting unethical behavior. One commenter mentioned a student named Emily who had been too close to him. Emma and Alex tracked down the blogger, Sarah, now a college student. Over a phone call, Sarah confirmed the rumors. Everyone knew something was off with Mark and Emily, she said. But the school didn't want a scandal, so they let him resign. "Do you think Emily would talk?" Emma asked. Sarah paused. "Maybe." She moved away, but I can give you her contact info. Emma emailed Emily, carefully explaining her situation and asking for help. To her surprise, Emily responded within hours. "Ms. Carter, I'm sorry you're going through this. Mark manipulated me when I was 17. He promised to help with my college applications. I've been trying to move on, but if it helps you, I'll tell the truth." Emma felt a mix of relief and guilt. Exposing Mark could clear her name, but it would also drag Emily through painful memories. She decided to proceed cautiously, focusing first on her own evidence. She compiled her old lesson plans, complete with timestamps, and prepared a presentation for the school board. But Mark wasn't done. He called her one evening, his voice cold. "I know you're digging into my past, Emma. You're making a big mistake." "You framed me, Mark," she shot back. "I know about Emily, and I'm not backing down." He laughed, a chilling sound. "Good luck proving anything. No one will believe you over me." Emma knew she needed a public confrontation to expose Mark. With Alex's help, she devised a plan to present her evidence at the upcoming parent-teacher conference, where the entire school community would be present. Alex suggested using social media to amplify the event, ensuring maximum impact. They contacted Emily again, who agreed to attend and share her story. Emma also enlisted Lisa, who rallied other teachers to support her. The plan was risky. Emma could face backlash for involving a former student, but she saw no other way. As the conference approached, Emma's relationship with David grew strained. "This is getting out of hand," he said one night, his voice tight. "You're obsessed, Em. What if this backfires?" "I have to do this," Emma said, tears in her eyes. "Not just for me, but for Emily and anyone else Mark might hurt." David softened, pulling her into a hug. "Okay. I'm with you. Just promise you'll be careful." The parent-teacher conference was held in the school auditorium, packed with parents, students, and faculty. Emma's heart raced as she took the stage, her evidence in hand. She began by presenting her lesson plans, showing the timestamps that proved their originality. Then she introduced Emily. The room fell silent as the young woman stepped forward, her voice steady but emotional. "When I was a senior, Mark Johnson manipulated me into an inappropriate relationship. He used his position to gain my trust, and I've carried that shame for years. I'm here because I don't want him to hurt anyone else." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Mark, seated in the front row, stood, his face red. "This is outrageous. She's lying." But Emily's parents, who had accompanied her, stood up too. "We were pressured to stay quiet by his last school," her father said. "We won't let that happen again." The school board, visibly shaken, promised an immediate investigation. Mark was escorted out, his protests echoing in the hall. Within days, Mark was fired, and charges were filed based on Emily's testimony. Emma's suspension was lifted, and she returned to her classroom, greeted by cheers from her students. But the victory felt bittersweet. Emily's courage had come at a cost, and Emma wondered if she had done the right thing by involving her. One afternoon, Emily visited Emma at school. "Thank you," she said quietly. "Speaking out was hard, but it freed me in a way. I'm applying to grad school now, and I feel like I can move forward." Emma's eyes welled up. I'm so proud of you, Emily. If you ever need a recommendation, I'm here. As spring turned to summer, Emma reflected on her journey. Revenge had cleared her name, but it had also shown her the complexity of justice. She decided to advocate for better school policies to protect students and teachers alike, channeling her experience into positive change. Standing in her classroom, Emma looked at her students, their faces bright with curiosity. She picked up a piece of chalk and wrote a new quote on the board. The truth will set you free, but first it will make you tremble. She smiled, ready to teach again. If you liked the video, then hit the like button and share your stories in comments, and do not forget to subscribe channel for daily news stories.